Who says gaming is a relaxing hobby? Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 brutally difficult, realistic games. For more gaming videos, check out our new spin-off channel, Mojo Plays, for in-depth reviews, thoughtful video essays, detailed character origins, and insightful commentary. Mojo Plays, games smarter. We think it's fair to say that most games cater to wider, more casual audiences, but that's not a bad thing. Fun might be subjective, but making your games more accessible just means you might attract a larger audience, and maybe more sales. However, there are still plenty of games that go in the opposite direction and strive for authenticity. And this list is focusing on those that have their realistic mechanics providing the bulk of the challenge. Seriously, it'd probably be easier to do some of these things in real life. Number 10, Spintires. Driving games are a dime a dozen, but there are none quite like this all-terrain simulator that has you traveling through the backwoods of Russia in beat-down cars. The real challenge here is in navigating through the world as fast as possible to avoid running out of fuel, but that's not all. Hit one too many boulders and your car might erupt into flames. So you end up having to take your time with safer, longer routes. These two simple ideas are constantly at odds, but provide a compelling challenge, especially in hardcore mode where the physics will push your patience to the absolute limit. Number 9, Stranded Deep. On top of all the usual things to manage in survival games like food and sleep, Stranded Deep sets itself apart by also having dynamic day, night, and weather cycles that will have you hunting around the island on the brink of starvation at 1 minute and running for cover the next. The real scales tipper here is through the sheer hostility of that environment, though. Whether you're out at sea surrounded by sharks or on dry land getting attacked by snakes, you're gonna need to channel your inner Bear Grylls to get out alive. Number 8, Kingdom Come: Deliverance. If you don't like a bunch of fantasy and player-friendly mechanics gunking up your RPGs, this one might be for you.
Hey, you there! Stop!
In Kingdom Come, becoming a great swordsman or archer relies on the player learning through practice and building up their real-world skills to break through enemy parries and overcome their foes. And that is time-consuming but rewarding in process. That's not all though, because for the entirety of the game, players also need to keep an eye on their hunger, energy, and yes, their cleanliness levels to stay in tip-top shape. Medieval Knights didn't have it easy, and neither will you. Number 7, Dangerous Waters. Enthusiast class simulation games have gone through a resurgence in recent years, but Dangerous Waters is still one of the best, and still has us just as confused as the day it came out.
Go to depth 017 meters, depth control I.
Sure, you can delegate your crew if you want, but the fun is using your sonar and periscope data to make split-second decisions and then manually drive the platform to escape danger or attack the enemy. Avionics might be simplified to the point where it won't be considered a straight learning sim, but we still believe seasoned vets should get their submarine licenses in the mail, considering the 700-page manual it comes with that's basically required reading.
Con sonar. No longer cavitating.
Number 6, SWAT 4.
Sir, you're in my spot.
Fair warning, if you're looking for Counter-Strike Go or even Rainbow Six Siege, this is not it. On top of having no saves when you're out on a mission, a lack of healing items means that every fight is a tense one, where one stray bullet will basically kill you instantly. The biggest hurdle, though, is the fact that you must follow strict rules of engagement at all times. You'll need to balance your trigger timing in between, so slow that you get shot first, and so fast that you accidentally shoot civilians. Let us tell you, that's a tough balance when you're aiming for takedowns and not kills.
I give up!
Number 5, Insurgency. So clearly by now, if you thought CSGO was the most realistic counterterrorism FPS game out there, you haven't been looking hard enough. The laughably low time to kill and realistic subtleties in body positioning as players aim, peek around corners, and snipe means that experts keep a low profile and avoid exposing themselves, which leads to very tense firefights and slow, methodical movement. Once you finally got that down, it's time to grab your night vision goggles and head on over to the night maps, because there's even more to master when it comes to dealing with fire, explosions, and muzzle flashes that restrict your ability to see and adds to the extremely high learning curve. Number 4, This War of Mine. War is hell, and nothing exemplifies that saying better than this incredibly bleak and depressing game that tells the story of those innocent people struggling for survival as the battles rage. The realism and difficulty come from the decisions that you'll be forced to make. Can you hold out an extra day before you start rationing and starving? Do you let the stranger into your shelter? Should you save the woman in trouble you find in the streets? They're all tough questions because they all have consequences and will probably have you feeling like an awful person for choosing incorrectly on more than one occasion. Number 3, the long dark. Canada. So cold, snowy, and sparse. Well, that's the picture this title paints when trying to recreate the challenges of surviving in a frozen wasteland, which is what we usually call Canada. And all this turns out to be a pretty brutal combination for the player. Survival requires careful calorie counting, as when you run low, you'll need to hunt. Well, that makes sense, right? Except you can't hunt for long because it's so damn cold that you're gonna freeze to death. You'll need to find animals first, so short hunting trips are rare. And the long ones will have you needing even more calories. It's a big catch-22 where you're screwed no matter what you do. Number 2, Operation Flashpoint series. Don't get us wrong, being a lone wolf is always fun, but when it comes to rewarding gameplay, nothing beats splitting up with your squad to take down the enemy.
You will become locked on, laser-guided, death-dealing killers.
And that's where this game shines the most. 1 or 2 bullets will put you down, so everything comes down to how well you can work as a team. Whether it's flanking the enemy soldiers firing at you on all cylinders, calling for a medic when downed, or traversing long stretches of terrain to take objectives, coordination is always required in situations where one weak link will break the whole chain.
Copy that, Bravo.
Number 1, Arma 3. Arma's greatest strength is in its massive maps and large player counts that result in huge firefights, realistic tactics to reduce fatigue and secure objectives, and artillery bombardments to break enemy lines. But that's not all it has going for it either. Even on a smaller scale, weapons are so carefully crafted that they each have unique ballistic properties. Your weapon will heat up while firing, or might malfunction underwater, and every round is subject to bullet drop and environmental factors like wind to calculate trajectory. It's a complete package that has a huge learning curve. But when you see your team inches away from victory, you'll know it was all worth it.
Harry, engage that machine gunner.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.